According to the BBC, Damiba is wanted by Burkina Faso for criminal embezzlement of public funds, illicit enrichment, corruption, and aggravated handling of stolen money. For 3 years, Paul-Henri Damiba lived in exile so comfortable it felt permanent. He was not hiding. He was not running. He gave lectures, received visitors, and moved through Lomé like a man the state had forgotten. There were no arrest warrants, no diplomatic pressure, no visible effort from Ouagadougou to bring him back. Then everything broke at once. One quiet night, a phone call came from a number he did not recognize. By morning, he was in custody. By the end of the week, he was on a plane back to Burkina Faso. No protest, no legal drama, no public resistance, just silence followed by return. That is the first mystery. If the state wanted him, it could have acted years earlier. His location was never secret. His presence in Togo was never denied. So the real question is not why he was arrested. The real question is why exile stopped protecting him. And what changed inside Burkina Faso that made this moment unavoidable? The story did not begin with a meeting or a message. It began with a payment that made no sense. On paper, it looked ordinary. A small transfer between two private companies. One registered in Lomé, the other tied to mining logistics in northern Burkina Faso. No weapons, no politicians, nothing dramatic. That is exactly why it stood out. The ownership structure was hidden too carefully. Layered companies, nominee directors, indirect family links. Someone was trying very hard not to be seen. Analysts followed the trail patiently. Corporate records, travel histories, phone metadata. The same intermediaries kept reappearing. The same legal firms surfaced across unrelated businesses. The same relatives appeared as consultants in companies that never consulted on anything. Slowly, all the lines converged. They did not lead to a boardroom. They led to one man living quietly in Togo. Damiba was not listed as a director. He was not a shareholder. He was the endpoint. This is where the story stopped being political and became operational. The money was not paying rent. It was not funding comfort. It was not supporting academic work. It moved through transport firms, procurement channels, and logistics contracts built for one purpose only: to move people, equipment, and information without attention. In West Africa, that kind of infrastructure does not exist for business. It exists for influence. The amounts were small by design, too small to trigger international alarms, just enough to pay drivers, handlers, and couriers. A financial heartbeat, not a flood. That was the moment the state understood something dangerous. Damiba was not waiting for an opportunity. He was already building it. Ouagadougou did not issue warrants. It did not call press conferences. It chose silence. The network was not blocked. It was observed. Every payment became a traffic. Every shell company became a doorway. What emerged was not a coup fund. It was a shadow supply chain. Fuel companies controlling transport routes. Contractors with access to military facilities. Private couriers moving quietly between Lomé and Ouagadougou. Each piece looked legal on its own. Together, they formed a system capable of bypassing oversight completely. That is when Damiba stopped being treated as a president. He became an active operator. The network was not built to seize power. It was built to hollow the state from the inside. Transport routes intersected with military zones. Contractors serviced barracks, depots, and communication. This was not preparation for taking. It was preparation for paralysis. Then the names appeared. Not generals, not politicians, mid-level officers, logistics commanders, signal specialists, fuel coordinators, men who decided whether convoys moved and radios worked. All had served under Damiba. All were reassigned after Traoré took power. None were dismissed. None were punished. They stayed inside the system. Damiba did not need loyal generals. He needed access to the arteries of the state. Men who could delay, misroute, miscommunicate, disappear information at the right moment. The plan was not to overthrow Traoré. It was to make him look incapable. Late fuel deliveries, silent radios, convoys arriving too late, intelligence that never arrived. Nothing dramatic, nothing traceable, just decay that looked organic. Visible enemies unite people. Invisible decay breaks them. The alleged assassination plot was not the goal. It was a multiplier. Even without it, the system was already designed to fail slowly. No one knew the full plan. Each man believed he was acting alone. There was no command center, no manifesto, just synchronization through money. That synchronization became the network's weakness. Patterns emerged, overlapping travel, shared intermediaries, identical behavior. The state did not need orders. It only needed movement. Then everything changed. Traoré did not hunt conspiracies. He rebuilt the environment. The old intelligence model was abandoned. In its place came overlapping monitoring units embedded inside military formations. Their task was not accusation. It was observation. Who travels? Who changes routine? Who suddenly gains access to money, vehicles, or equipment? Units watched units. Deployments rotated constantly. Commanders were switched mid-operation. Trust could not stabilize. Long-term coordination became impossible. Damiba's network depended on slow loyalty. The system was designed to destroy loyalty. By late 2025, the picture was complete. Officers, companies, routes, foreign contacts. The trunk of the network was still in Togo. Then something quietly snapped the moment a powerful US trade program expired, and the world barely blinked. There was no panic in South Africa, no factory alarms, no market shockwaves, just an eerie calm that spoke louder than outrage ever could. If South Africa had still depended on the US to survive, fear would have arrived instantly.
Tension between Washington and Pretoria.
While Pretoria stayed composed, Washington rushed, scrambling to revive AGOA as if something far more valuable than goodwill was slipping through its fingers. That urgency exposed the first crack in the narrative. This program was never just about helping Africa. It was an economic design built to quietly serve American needs while pretending to offer generosity. For years, AGOA allowed the US to outsource production without admitting its own industrial decline. South Africa became the unseen engine, supplying finished goods, industrial inputs, and stability at a price America could no longer manage at home. The leverage worked only as long as there were no alternatives. But the world changed while Washington was still lecturing. Trade routes multiplied, power centers shifted, and South Africa adapted without noise or confrontation. It diversified quietly, built new markets, rewrote contracts, and reduced risk long before AGOA expired. So when the program lapsed, nothing collapsed. Shipments adjusted, prices shifted, and business continued. The real shock hit American boardrooms, not African factories. US companies felt the friction immediately as costs rose and planning unraveled. That was the moment panic truly began. Congress moved fast, not out of vision, but out of fear. AGOA was extended as insurance, not influence. By then, the balance had already changed. South Africa was no longer negotiating for survival, but for value. This is the quiet power shift no vote can reverse. You can revive a law, but you cannot revive dependence. And when the clock runs out again, the question will not be who needs access. It will be who still matters. The silence that followed was not accidental. It was deliberate and deeply unsettling. It revealed a country that had already prepared for a future beyond pressure and quiet threats. Behind closed doors, strategies were tested, alternatives priced, and risks absorbed long before the deadline arrived. This was not rebellion, it was evolution. A system built to command obedience suddenly faced an economy that could wait, compare, and walk away without fear. That shift, if this perspective made you think differently, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below.